Well, we're going to get started, knowing a few people will continue to join us, but welcome to everyone who is here. Welcome to Discover America Week and the U.S. Franchise Opportunities in the GCC webinar. I'm Mary McGinnis, the Executive Director of the American Chamber of Commerce in Bahrain. And we welcome all of those from Bahrain and the members from AmCham Oman, who is partnering on this event, as well as our friends from Kuwait, Jordan, and Qatar. We're very pleased to have this regional presence. I'm going to just quickly let you know about some of our upcoming events. Well, first, housekeeping, yes. So we encourage you to send your questions in throughout the webinar. If someone says something and you want to know more about it, or you've thought of something, just send it in the chat box, and we will get to those at the end as a collective Q&A. And just to let you know, the slides and a recording of the event will be sent out to everyone after the event. So a lot of information is going to be shared today, so you don't have to memorize all of it. So our first event coming up, next slide, yes, is actually tomorrow. And this is a part of Discover America Week as well. XM, which is the U.S. Export-Import Bank that helps U.S. companies export their goods by providing financial tools such as loan guarantees, insurance, and things like that to help encourage international buyers buy their goods. And so if you're either a US company or an international company interested in learning more about this, this is an excellent opportunity. It's 4 o'clock tomorrow, the same time as today, but tomorrow. So join us and learn how you can grow your company with US goods and services. The next slide. And we're planning another one of our series, Doing Business with the U.S. Navy, in November. And it will either be 10 November or 11 November. But if you're registered for this event, we have your email, and we will be sending more information about this to everyone. But this is an excellent webinar about how to be involved in the procurement process at the U.S. Navy in Bahrain. So if you have a service or goods that you want to sell or offer to the U.S. Navy, this is the webinar to learn more about how to do that. Next event. So we also have an event coming up, and this is actually for all the AmChams in the GCC, a post-U.S. election review on hopefully by then it'll all be settled and we'll know who the next president is. And we have a very smart person, Eric Ham, who's going to be kind of explaining the whole process to us. So for those political junkies out there, this will be a great event. Next slide.
Hello.
What I will do now is I'm very pleased to introduce the U.S. Charge d'Affaires, Maggie Nardi. She came to Bahrain as the Deputy Chief of Mission in the summer of 2019 and stepped into the role of Acting Ambassador in the summer of 2020, just recently when Ambassador Sibrel departed. She has served 25 years in the State Department, including positions in Jerusalem, Croatia, Turkey, the Balkans, El Salvador, and Poland. Please welcome Charge d'Affaires, Maggie Nardi. Maggie?
Thanks very much, Mary, for that nice introduction. I am really excited to be here, and I want to welcome back Joel Stewart, who I know was with us earlier this summer at another franchising discussion we had in the context of the free trade agreement that was implemented in 2006. So we welcome him back. That was very well received. I'd also like to give a nod to Troy Franklin, Martin Hancock, Haifa Al-Jishi, and Bill Schreiber, who are going to provide us different perspectives on franchising from their vantage points. And I think we will be able to learn a lot from each of them. And I'd want to join Mary in a warm welcome to all of the AmChams and business councils from around the region. I think doing regional events like this is great because typically, if a company is interested in one of the countries in the region, they would be interested in the others. And so it's great that we can collaborate. So I thank you for that. And Mary, thanks to you for organizing this event. As Mary said, this webinar is being conducted under the auspices of Discover America 2020. So that is an annual event that most embassies around the world do to highlight American companies and products in the markets they are in, to show how they are contributing to the local economy. And what we wanted to do today is a little bit different and talk about new opportunities for companies to come into Bahrain in particular, but also into the region. So we're looking at it from a slightly different aspect, and that is franchising. And I can tell you from a US Embassy perspective, franchising is a critical part of the market here because it's branding America in every country that we're in. When you can go to different countries, whether it's Bahrain or Saudi or Kuwait, and you can get a Starbucks coffee or McDonald's or whatever it is, certainly as someone from America, it's a little piece of home, but it's also brand recognition for America and American culture and food and retail and everything else. So it's a very powerful tool for the United States abroad. So we're very supportive of franchising. Here in Bahrain, as I believe probably in the rest of the region, American brands are very well known. Most people are familiar with them and also think positively about them and support them. And so in Bahrain, which is 1.5 million people, there are still over 100 US franchises, which is a lot. I was really surprised by that number when I came here last year. So you always have McDonald's, that's pretty ubiquitous. Starbucks is becoming everywhere, but there are others as well that you might not think of, like GNC Nutrition or Bath and Body Works, or PF Chang's. So the opportunities are really great. And here, even though there are already 100 franchises, we believe that there are still extensive opportunities in the hospitality sector, tourism, luxury goods, also automotive services, printing, and convenience stores. So some areas where there really aren't US franchises. And so we think that the opportunities are good. And I can say, just from my 1 year here and talking to the business community, a number of which have regional headquarters here, the reason they choose Bahrain is because it's a very easy place to live. It's very relaxed and welcoming. As a small island that was a trading post since its inception, it's used to having foreigners come and go. And you can tell that you're really welcomed here when you come. But also more importantly, from a business perspective, is the welcoming business regulation and the streamlined registration and incorporation process. It's a very business-friendly place to work. Same is true with banking and other support services. So if you are at all interested in considering a US franchise opportunity, I would encourage you to listen to all of our speakers today who are very knowledgeable. Contact Mary McGinnis or others at the AmCham here or in the other countries, or talk to Ryan and others here at the US Embassy, because we are happy to help in any way that we can. And we would certainly like to welcome you here. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Maggie. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Daniel Taylor. He's the Chief Financial Officer at First Bahrain Real Estate Development Company, and who has served on the AmCham's Board of Directors since 2014. Dan is a long-term resident of Bahrain, making his first visit as a US Navy officer in 1989, and moving his family here in the mid-1990s. Before Daniel joined First Bahrain in 2007, he was an entrepreneur leading 2 SMEs in Bahrain, General Manager of New York Coffee, a gourmet coffee roaster and cafe, and General Manager of Mariner Technologies, where he was the chief architect of leading GCC business news portal, TradeArabia.com, 2 companies that are still popular and known by many. Daniel, thank you very much for being here and representing AmCham.
Thank you very much, Mary. It's an honor to be here with you, particularly Sergey Nardi. Second time in the week here doing Discover America Week, and so it's a real privilege to be part of this. Thank you, Mary, for organizing this. Thank you, AmChams from around the region to join us together today. I mean, I think you've really put together a really strong program with some really distinguished people that add value in this sector. And as Sharjeh Nardi said, franchising is really one of the best ways to get into the entrepreneurial space because somebody else has done it before and has worked out a lot of the kinks. And it's a great way to extend, those American brands into this region. And so we're really excited to have this opportunity before you is find ways to further explore this partnership between Bahrain and the United States and the region. And so in particular, AmCham is very pleased to partner with the embassy here in this event. Of course, AmCham's mission is to provide bilateral trade and commerce and investment opportunities between Bahrain and the United States, and to help companies leverage the benefits of the free trade agreement. And we do this by bringing together business leaders, sharing business knowledge, and providing business development services. So in this light, we're thrilled to highlight these opportunities available for U.S. franchise brands in all sectors. As Sharjeh Nardi said, far beyond what we traditionally think of in being just food, there are many different franchise opportunities available. Bahrain has a long, successful history with U.S. franchises, and the entrepreneurial business person is always interested in knowing what new opportunities may be available. So with that, I'll pass back to Mary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. One of the many benefits of AmCham membership is access to our regional AmCham chapters, both joining their events such as today and the introductions that can be provided to their members. So we're very pleased to have AmCham Oman as a partner on today's event, and I'd like to introduce Rebecca Olsen, the Executive Director of the Oman American Business Council, also called AmCham Oman. Please, Rebecca.
Thanks, Mary. I will keep my remarks very short as I've seen the program for today, and I know there is a lot to cover, but I just wanted to be a friendly face for those who are signing in from Oman. Hi to our members. I saw Mustafa and Greg and a few others. We have a number of people signing in today, and if you're not a member and you received the link from someone, I'd like to encourage you to email me, learn more about our AmCham in the Sultanate. I will leave my email address in the chat so you can reach me that way. And I also wanted to say a special thank you to Mary and the team. It's been such an honor and a privilege during the pandemic to be able to partner more often with our sister AmChams in the region. And it's been a lot of work to put this together. I know you have a busy Discover America week in Bahrain. We're very thankful. And also for all of your invites to your events. I know this doing business with the US Navy and the XM event tomorrow, if our members are interested, they've been invited to those. It's great to see this collaboration, and I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you as well to each presenter today. I won't go over all of them again, but Joel and I went to college together. So we've had a relationship, a friendship for years. Let's not talk about that. And I know you're all in for a treat today. So thanks for having us from Oman.
Thank you, Rebecca. Well, we're very fortunate that, as has been said, that we have a lineup of some great speakers, leaders and experts in their field. So let me introduce our first speaker, Troy Franklin. He's the Chief Operating Officer for Asia with World Franchise Associates, with more than 30 years of experience in senior executive positions in international franchising and business development, working directly with and consulting for both franchisors and master franchisees across the various sectors of the franchise industry, including food and beverage, retail, and services. Troy's experience spans more than 70 countries and multiple regions. So let me hand it over to Troy.
Good day, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today and as a part of this Discover America Week event. Let me thank AmCham Bahrain, the American Embassy Bahrain, the other embassies and AmChams in the region for inviting us to participate. What I'd like to do is give you a little bit of a snapshot of franchising during and more importantly post-COVID, because that is a key topic of the day around the world right now, and that'll set the stage for my friends and colleagues who are going to speak after me to talk to you more about opportunities. So I'd like to start my presentation. Just briefly about my company, World Franchise Associates. I'm a partner and director in World Franchise Associates, and we specialize in matching brands and investors. And we provide various services for brands that are looking to expand and franchise internationally, and for businesses who are looking to acquire franchises, and also we offer services and government and institutional programs. I won't introduce myself again. Mary's done a great job of that. You'll get access to this presentation as part of the shared link to the entire event. And my contact information, you can see, is there in the presentation. We have a portal called the World Franchise Center. It features more than 200 international brands, of which more than 20% are American brands. My partner, Martin Hancock, who's going to speak later, will talk to you more about the World Franchise Center. So let's start with some global franchise trends. And these are relevant both pre and post-COVID. These are the key trends that were driving franchising in 2019 and into 2020. International expansion. More brands are expanding beyond their borders, more American brands in particular, than inside their home country. 2 out of every 3 franchise brands opened by American franchisors are now opened internationally. Increased use of technology. Technology is key to progressing in the industry because it's advancing so rapidly and impacting the franchising business in so many different ways. Emerging markets are more and more important. A large percentage of the world's population lives in these emerging markets. We're seeing a growing demand for specialized services. There's a big growth in health, fitness, and wellness. Children's focused franchises. Casual and premium fast casual restaurants are in more and more demand. People are looking more at their health and wellness, as I mentioned above, so healthy menu items. There's a big growth in mobile franchises, non-traditional franchises such as hotels, as an example, socially conscious franchises that give back, and another big trend is cloud, ghost, or host kitchens. So these were the trends heading into the new decade, 2020. So during the pandemic, there were some factors that impacted the industry. Every successful franchise is built on a profitable business model, a competitive market position, and committed ownership and leadership. And the truth is that the pandemic has shaken a lot of these successful franchises due to the fact that it's impacted their sales, profitability, and competitiveness in their home markets. When you're shut down due to lockdowns, or you have limited capability to serve your clientele, your customers, it's very hard to perform. And very few of the franchise businesses were immune to this. And this is not just in America, this is effectively worldwide. But the ones that were hit the hardest were brick and mortar type of franchises, the fine casual dining, restaurants, bars, and cafes, which offer an experience, and anything relying on travel and tourism, very badly affected. Having said that, there were some franchises that actually prospered or did better than others during the pandemic, and those were essential service franchises, people in the essential services category, cleaning and disinfecting, franchise businesses with strong delivery service elements such as pizza brands, retailers with strong online platforms, and people that had delivery and a strong value proposition. a lot of franchises were quick to react, and even though they were impacted by the pandemic, they reacted quickly to evolve their business so that they would be able to perform better. Fitness franchises, for example, started offering online classes. Education franchises like Mathnasium, who you're going to hear from later, shifted to an online element, which is, as I understand, going to become a permanent part of the business. You had a lot of retail brands developing online platforms and F&B brands launching delivery service. And while the pandemic has impacted everyone, franchises are generally better able to weather the pandemic than other independent businesses because of the quality of their leadership, their experience, access to capital, economy of scale, and other relevant issues. So post-COVID outlook, obviously the $1 million question is exactly when is all this going to come to an end? Lots of different views on that. The answer is going to depend heavily on a vaccine and medicines that prevent serious illness. But I think that by and large, the franchise industry, including franchisors, franchisees, and industry experts, see that the 2021 financial year is going to be a really good year for franchising. There's a belief that franchising is going to bounce back in a big way, the same as it did in after the global financial crisis, the Asian economic crisis, and other similar economic crises. This is a quote from Babette Marshauser-Wood. She is the leading franchise expert at Dentons. Dentons is the largest law firm in terms of number of lawyers worldwide, and has some of the industry's leading franchise legal minds in franchising. And she said that it's an ideal strategy, franchising being an ideal strategy for growth post-COVID, offering an asset-light expansion option to franchisors while giving franchisees cheap access to substantial know-how and industry expertise. Compare the average franchise signing fee to a cost of paying a consultant to help you develop a new business. Franchising wins easily. So this is someone who certainly knows what they're talking about. Factors supporting an optimistic outlook for the GCC, which is the region we're talking about now. The economic engine of the MENA, Middle East North Africa region, would be the GCC. The region has strong intellectual property laws and protections. The region has a very well-developed infrastructure. I can speak from my own experience, having been to all of the GCC countries except Yemen multiple times. Franchising is believed to be there's a significant proof of concept for franchising across the GCC. Earlier, there was a mention of how many franchise brands were doing business in Bahrain. And if you look at the other GCC countries, you'll see similar numbers. US franchises are very well accepted in the GCC and the broader Middle East. There's common language and seasonality across the Middle East, which helps with regional strategy. Generally, the region is easily accessible. You've got some of the world's leading airlines, and it's very easy to move in and out. And a lot of countries are focusing on diversifying their economies and stimulating SME growth. Saudi is an example of that with their vision to reduce their oil dependency and spur SME growth among Saudi nationals, for example. I'm going to end with a quote from somebody who has always inspired me. It wasn't meant to be about franchising, but I think it suits franchising well, and that is a good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. So if you want to bring a franchise business to the region, you make sure you have the head and the heart for it, and that's a good foundation to start and succeed. Wish you every success with your franchise endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Troy. And just want to mention that he's joining us from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And so we appreciate you being here with us today. And all of that information, as we said, will be available to everyone after the event. I'd like to bring it back to Bahrain and introduce Haifa Al-Jishi. a successful entrepreneur launching businesses unique to the region. After a career in engineering and then investment banking, Haifa co-founded the Bahrain Business Women's Society, encouraging enterprising women. She manages a reputed art gallery, runs an industrial facility, and is franchise owner of the renowned cleaning company ChemDry. Haifa is going to offer us her local perspective as a franchisee owner. Haifa?
Hello. Thank you, Mary, for the introduction. It's very nice. My name is Haifa Al-Jishi, and I'm basically the owner of ChemDry Bahrain. ChemDry is an international franchise with nearly 3,600 locations all over the world. And ChemDry is the world's largest carpet cleaning brand in the world. In 2017, I own a business where we represent very reputed carpet company, and they provide carpets for high-end hotels and airports and high-end customers. So they said that to protect their carpet, they recommend that we approach ChemDry and bring the franchise in Bahrain, because they only trust ChemDry to clean their carpets, and cleaning with ChemDry will prolong the life of the carpet, which is obviously very expensive carpet. So I did my research and I was impressed with ChemDry. And then I decided to open the franchise in Bahrain, and we started in 2017. It has been really successful. It has been a difficult year this year, but aside of that, ChemDry sells itself very easily. ChemDry distinguishes itself from the other cleaning companies in the sense that they do use a very unique method of cleaning. They don't do steam cleaning for carpets. They do carbonation, and they have special machines and special product called the Natural. And the Natural is a green product. When you spray, you put it over the carpet, it starts to bubble and it starts to extract all the dirt from the inside of the carpet, from the bottom of the carpet, and the bubbles raise the dirt up to the top. And the special machine of ChemDry then just extracts the dirt. So the advantage of using ChemDry to clean carpets is that the carpet will dry within an hour or two. So if you have a meeting in an hour, you need or a mosque or a hotel or even an airport, within an hour or two, you'll have your carpet cleaned. The other products that they have is they do the same technique is used to clean upholstery, to clean floors, wooden floors, vinyl floors. We do clean marble with special product from ChemDry. And so it has been quite interesting. We have got very impressed customer base here, and one of the other strengths of ChemDry is also that they're very, very good in removing stains like ink and wine and red spots. So they're really good in this. 2020 has been a challenging year. You might tell me, why is it challenging? Because ChemDry is a cleaning company, so you should have taken advantage of the pandemic. It wasn't very easy because although ChemDry has a very, very good EPA registered and hospital grade disinfectant, it was difficult to go and visit homes because no one wanted anybody aside of the household to be entering their homes. All the other commercial businesses that we have contract with, such as hotels and cinemas and restaurants, they've all shut. so there was no business. It has been very challenging, but recently, I think what's good about ChemDry and what's good about the franchise is that the mother company will always try to come up with a solution for you. So they've came up with pretty strong products, and they recently launched in August Micro Pro Shield MPS 90, which is an antimicrobial a product that will remove all the germs and the microbes from walls, floors, furniture, and it will leave a layer that will protect any surface you spray that material on for 90 days. So we're starting to get this product, and we hope we'll be able to help in disinfection. And that's basically a summary of ChemDry, very, very short.
Thank you very much, Haifa. We really appreciate learning about ChemDry and about your experience. I'd like to shift over to Martin Hancock, who's joining us from Chicago. And he is the Chief Operating Officer for North America at World Franchise Associates, with extensive experience, including facilitating international development in over 20 countries for brands in all sectors of franchising. Martin currently advises multiple US brands on global development strategy, and he's a regular speaker on global franchising at international franchise events. He's going to speak about specific brands that are seeking partners in the Gulf. Martin?
Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you to the Embassy and to AmCham for having us here. As Mary said, we're going to look briefly at some opportunities, some franchise brands looking to develop in Bahrain, the GCC, and the broader Gulf region. Along with Troy, I'm a partner and director at World Franchise Associates. My main role is to help US brands develop internationally and assist companies, investors, and entrepreneurs assess and compare franchise brands that they're looking to acquire the rights for. I already had an excellent introduction from Mary, so we can miss that. As Troy mentioned, World Franchise Center is a leading resource for investors looking to acquire the rights to US brands for the Middle East. We're going to take a quick look at the worldfranchisecenter.com website and pay particular attention to the sectors that have remained strong through the pandemic by reacting to the changed buying pattern of consumers. So this is the World Franchise Center. As you see, we've got all franchise sectors represented here: food and hospitality, B2B, retail, health and beauty, all categorized. I'm going to start with food and hospitality. Everything from quick service franchises down to desserts and sweets, categorized. We're going to start with quick service. Small footprint QSR brands with a well-developed delivery system have actually thrived during the pandemic. We can start here with pizza. As Troy said, a lot of pizza brands have done very well through the pandemic. This example here is Little Caesars, which is many of you have heard of. It's the third largest pizza brand in the US. If you come to the website, you'll see some pictures of the brand, brand pictures. You'll see the business proposition of the brand, a little bit of brand history, profile of what they're looking for in a franchisee, and both available and operational locations. Up here to the right at the top, there's a simple, no hassle way of receiving with one click information on the brand. It's not all about the big brands though. Here's a donut brand out of North Carolina. It's a niche brand. It's relatively simple to operate. It's low startup costs. It's scalable, fresh, made to order donuts. So a far cry from pizza, but the overall idea behind the concept is the same. Let's look at fitness and sports franchises. As Troy mentioned, changing your approach to an online and on-site model is important. Over the last few years, small box boutique fitness brands have been a growth area. And many of these have now developed a hybrid model combining on-location and online workouts. A good example here is 9 Round. 9 Round is a 30-minute workout based on kickboxing. It's successful in the region, not yet in Bahrain, but in all of the other GCC countries. And it's they've developed again a model which you can work out online, you can work out in the gym, and that's the way many of these brands in this sector are going to operate moving forward. Women's fitness is a very hot topic right now. This particular concept is based in New York, but they're in the US, they're in Dubai, they're in Bangkok, they're in Mumbai, which when you're looking for a franchise, if you can see that the brand is prepared to tweak their model and sympathetic to how to operate internationally, because there is always, the brand needs to stay intact, but there is always some tweaking that needs, whether it's marketing, whether it's menu, whatever it is, it needs to be, the franchisor has to be sympathetic to the local culture. This is a premium women's fitness workout brand based on bar classes. So the next sector I want to take a look at is children-related concepts. Kids education, kids fitness is another growth area. One thing that you want to look for as a franchisee of a brand in this sector is what's unique. Do they have a proprietary curriculum? We're going to hear from Bill Schreiber a little bit later of Mathanasium, a brand that's already experienced success in Bahrain. And I'll just have a quick look at one other, which is Tumbles. Tumbles is a brand out of Houston. It's in the kids edutainment sector. So entertainment, education. Brands in this sector are not just all about a good financial model. They're also about making changes in your community, doing good in your community. And Tumbles is kids fitness, which addresses the global problem of child obesity, along with extracurricular STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and art and math. This is children from 1 to 11. And like a lot of concepts in this sector, it can operate as a hybrid model. You can do it on site or at home. Another example of a scalable business that has a broad appeal to parents who want to give children, they want to give their children the best that they can. Lastly, I'm going to talk briefly about mobile franchises. Haifa was kind enough to come on earlier and explain the challenges that ChemDry has faced and the support she has received from her franchisor. A number of mobile franchises are being actively sought after right now, whether it be cleaning, whether it be home improvement. This particular example is mobile fitness. Mobile franchises don't require bricks and mortar. So typically the startup costs are less. They're easily scalable. You add a franchisee by adding a van and assigning a territory. And in this type of business, you often find higher margins because of the lower operating costs. So that was a very brief overview of a few US franchise brands in sectors that we believe have momentum moving forward. As was mentioned on the top of this call, of course, there's many others. Automotive, somebody mentioned convenience stores, that's a big opportunity. We handle a number of US brands. We have connections with with hundreds of US brands. Both Troy and my contact information are on the presentations. We'd be delighted to talk with any of you on a one-to-one basis of what to look for, what to watch out for, generally help with the due diligence of franchise brand acquisition. So I'd like to say thank you all very much indeed for attending this webinar today.
Thank you very much, Martin. And thank you for taking us to your website. It's just a wealth of information, really one-stop shopping for anyone who's curious to learn more about franchises and what's required. I'd like to now go back to a local perspective in the sense of Mathnasium here in Bahrain and introduce Bill Schreiber, the Executive Director of International Development for Mathnasium, although he's coming to us from Phoenix, Arizona. So a very early morning to you, Bill, and welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone in the GCC region. Oman and the embassy, it's greatly appreciated. Troy, if you can bring up my slides. Thank you, everybody. As I say, I'm Bill Schreiber. I'm the Executive Director of International Development. To give you a quick synopsis of myself, I've been in franchising for over 35 years. Mostly in the food business, but got into Mathnasium and education centers purely to make a change in my life. Next slide, please. So Mathnasium is really about shaping the minds of children through first grade to 12th grade to help them understand and overcome the obstacles that math presents for a lot of our leaders who in the future. We help kids understand math with the proprietary teaching system that we have and was developed over 20 years ago. And we currently use it in over 1,100 centers around the world and 5 different continents. The biggest thing for us is for you to understand children is our main focus and the most important thing to us. Next slide, please. These are some of our educational centers and what we do and the type of students that we learn. The one thing we are very, very proud of is our teacher to student ratio. Some places like to take a classroom type of style, which would be multiple students against one teacher, whereas we really look at to do 1 to 4. And that allows the student to have a much more in-depth but more personalized educational experience that allows them to get much more comfortable with math. And we are learning that around the world, math presents problems to many, many, many children. And we feel very confident about the system we have to help them learn. So that is one of the biggest things we pride ourselves on. And as was said, Mary said, we have a center in Bahrain. COVID has presented issues, I think, as it has for everybody around the world. And in the GCC, we experienced some COVID-related closures. Next slide, please. So the biggest thing for us is that we are rated by Entrepreneur Forbes, very low cost entry for a business. More importantly, that we're successful in what we do, and we are considered one of America's best franchises. We're excited about that because our whole mission as a company is about the education of children and how to make them stronger and more confident in math, which we honestly believe helps them lead to become better leaders in the future. Next slide, please. So this is one of our up-to-date learning centers.
عن البيتزا they have specific franchises. هذه السفارة الأمريكية مسويتها لنا. شوف ايش يقول تاج.
Okay. We do a video. Thanks, Troy.
Bill,
Yeah.
are you still
Troy's
on
trying
your-
to get the video to come up. I don't know what's
Okay.
going on.
Great, here we go.
There we go.
Our schools have amazing math teachers, but with all the demands made on them, how can talented students get the extra challenge and accelerated learning they need, while those who struggle with math get the attention and emotional support they need? Mathnasium has a solution to help any student excel. We begin with a verbal and written assessment that pinpoints each child's unique strengths and weaknesses. Then we customize a learning plan to focus on the specific concepts they need to master. Next, highly trained, caring instructors teach each student face-to-face at the perfect pace for them, using a range of teaching modes to ensure true foundational understanding. We're not about rote memorization. The Mathnasium method develops the critical thinking and problem-solving skills they need to succeed. And we make learning math fun, so students truly enjoy coming to Mathnasium. They're part of our family. We even provide test prep for college-bound high schoolers. The results? Students succeed beyond expectations. The Mathnasium method builds confidence, boosts grades, and improves test scores. Because mathematics is so fundamental, results extend past the classroom and last a lifetime, opening doors to new careers and infinite possibilities. Mathnasium makes it easy for parents too, with flexible scheduling and over 1,000 neighborhood learning centers. Each visit includes homework help, taking the stress out of school nights. For over 15 years, we've been trusted by more than 500,000 parents. But see it for yourself. Check out our reviews. Learn more about the Mathnasium method and schedule a no-obligation first visit at your neighborhood Mathnasium Learning Center today. Mathnasium, we're changing lives through math.
Thank you, Troy. The most important thing I can tell you is we continue to read from business leaders around the world that critical thinking skills are the biggest challenges to the future of their businesses. And we honestly believe by what we teach at Mathnasium that really allows us to be able to help develop that skill, which is an important part of anybody's future as they continue to grow up and move into their own lives. So the most important thing I can tell you about Mathnasium is we change children's lives through math. And in the GCC, what we are looking to offer is a master franchising model, which we can talk about offline one-on-one. Thank you for your time, everybody, and good morning from Phoenix, Arizona.
Thank you very much, Bill. I actually was not aware of Mathnasium, so I'm very glad to know about it now. I want to move on to and introduce Joel Stewart, who actually played a very key role in this event today. As Maggie mentioned, Joel has been to Bahrain and held a franchise event with AmCham before, and then did another virtual online franchise presentation earlier this year. So he is our go-to franchise guy. So thank you, Joel, for bringing together this excellent group of speakers for our event today. Joel is with Integrity Commercial, and he's the founder of the International Franchise Marketplace. He has held events around the world, as I say, to educate business leaders and entrepreneurs on the capabilities and limitations of franchising and how they can use this powerful tool to achieve their personal, professional, and financial goals. He's going to take a few moments today to give us some concluding thoughts and how to leverage franchises. Joel?
Thank you, Mary. And first, I just want to thank you. There's one thing I got to say about Mary and also Rebecca over in Oman is they make these events so easy. Like they are so good at it. And I'm very thankful that they're a part of the team. We're putting together events like this. I also want to give a thanks to Haifa and Bill to give their kind of perspective on the commercial cleaning and the educational space. I think both of those and COVID are both incredibly powerful, growing sectors. And one of the great things about franchise brands, and I think Haifa mentioned it, was that you've got this team of people that have businesses open in sometimes hundreds or thousands of markets, and they're working together to try to adapt to the market, even with something as crazy as this pandemic where things are shutting down. You've got this team of people behind you that are saying, hey, here's a new product we came up with, here's something new we can do. And Bill with his educational thing, here's some online services that we can integrate and incorporate, so that while everyone else that doesn't have the power of a franchise brand behind them is scrambling to try to figure out how to create this content or to create these products, members of these franchise brands have this team behind them that are innovating for them. You can kind of think of it as outsourced innovation, right? It's for your own business. It's really powerful, and that's actually something for leveraging how you can leverage franchises that I didn't actually put in my slides today, but just kind of came out of these presentations, and I wanted to share it. I also wanted to give a great thank you to Martin Hancock and Troy Franklin. I met Martin last year through my franchise group, the International Franchise Professionals Group. And Troy actually helped me out with an event over in Thailand last year. So I got to meet him, have dinner with him. And when I was trying to come up with an event for this year, and I really would like to make this an annual thing, I wanted somebody that knew how COVID was affecting franchises around the world. And out of all of my contacts, I couldn't think of a better group than World Franchise Associates. They've got their finger to the pulse of franchising. They have people on the ground around the world. And I think they did a real good job today talking about the impacts of COVID and the business sectors that are expanding. And I just, my passion with franchising is how you can use it to achieve your goals. I'm one of those people that just is compulsive when it comes to helping people. So when I can see a way to make a win-win, that's why I'm so passionate about franchising, is there's so many ways that it can make a win-win. And so today I'm just going to talk for just a couple of minutes, because we're near the end of this thing. I want to talk for a couple of minutes about how you can leverage franchising. And leverage is one of those words in the English language that has a lot of different meanings. And I wanted to just talk about the specific meaning when I talk about leveraging franchises. So I went and I looked up a couple dictionaries, and I just pulled out a couple here, and I want you to think about my next slide in the context of these. So the first is of leverage is to use something to maximum advantage. And the something that we're talking about with franchising, in my opinion, is your time. This franchising allows you to use your time to maximum advantage. The second definition is to use something you already have in order to achieve something new or better. And this is, in my opinion, says you can leverage your own organization, your own skills, your own strengths, and you can leverage those strengths and go off in a completely new direction in business or open completely new business lines using a franchise system. And you can create something that's even better for yourself, your family, and your community. And just focusing back on that community thing, that's another thing that kind of stuck out to me at the end there with Bill when he was talking about working on making your community a better place. A lot of franchises are very focused on meeting market needs and kind of providing a service to your community. When you provide, especially something like education, my background's in engineering. So I think that if you have an aptitude or if you work hard and learn good things and develop your math skills, I think it really helps you throughout your life. So having these types of things for your community can really make your whole community better. So the third thing is the ability to influence situations or people so that you can control what happens. And I think that's incredibly important, especially in this this era of COVID-19 where markets are shifting. Things are, there's a lot of trends that we're expecting to continue. There's also behaviors that are not going to go back to the way they were. People's buying patterns, people's behaviors. Some of them, not all of them, some of them are changing in what's going to be permanent ways. And so there's going to be a need in markets for rapid adaptation to these changing market needs, and you can help control what happens to meet those needs. There's also, and there's another thing I want to talk about that in this next section, but so now we're going to talk about some specific ways that you can leverage franchising. So the first is that franchising offers a consistent product and service. Customers know what they're going to get, and you know what you're going to get. So if you've got a market need and you're like, oh, here's a specific market need that just opened up. COVID's done it. People want to spend money on this type of product, and there's nobody to service it. You can get a franchise, and you know it's going to meet that market need. And when you think about what you get when you buy a franchise brand, a lot of people think I'm getting the brand, I'm getting the name, that's what I'm buying. But that's not true. What you're really getting is you're tapping into a consistent customer experience. So this is, you're able to leverage that experience. So customers go to, say, a Little Caesars. They have a great experience at Little Caesars, but there's none around where they are. And so when you open a Little Caesars near where they are, they already have an expectation. Before ever going into your store, they have an expectation of what that experience is going to be like. And that's what you're leveraging. A name isn't a name unless it actually means something. And the consistent customer experience is what it means. When I was in Bahrain last year, and this is kind of a funny story, I think I might even mention it in my last one, but I saw a Caribou coffee, and I immediately was like, I have to go get a coffee there. Because not only was it one of my favorite coffee spots I had in America, and I've had a great experience with their products. It was my wife's favorite. So I went there and I got pictures to make her jealous. There's no Caribou coffee where we live. But when I went there, I knew what I was going to get, and I knew what my customer experience was going to be. And whoever bought that Caribou coffee location and put it there, they leveraged that experience to get my money out of my pocket. And I bought coffee there instead of somewhere else. So that consistent customer experience is the real power of a franchise brand, not the name. The name just tells people what they're getting. The second is the way that you can expand. So franchising is very modular. If you've got a smaller budget or if you've got a massive budget, you can decide how you want to invest and how you want to expand. Unit level expansion is if you've got a smaller budget or a smaller market, or if you just want to test it. Some franchise brands allow a unit, but if there's a master in the region, you can get a unit from the master. And you can start out small, and if it's successful, you can expand using that same franchise. You know it, you understand it, you can expand. With a master or an area development, there's a lot of flexibility there. Sometimes with a master, you only need to open one, and you can sell the rights, or you can decide to develop a region. So if someone bought a GCC regional master, they may develop Bahrain themselves. And focus on that, and then modularly expand out to the other regions through other people that they sell the rights to. So there's a lot of different, very flexible ways that you can expand using franchising, and ways that you can adapt your budget and how much you're looking to spend, your risk tolerance to the brand you're looking to invest in. Because there are some that cost very, relatively very small amounts of money, and some that cost a lot. So you can be very flexible to your budget, and you can expand out in a modular fashion that can, it always gives you a level for growth. You don't want to, when you're expanding in business, you don't want to hit this cap and say, I can't expand any farther because there's no market here. With franchising, there's always another module, another thing that you can do to keep expanding. And that's one of the things I really love about it. Flexibility. This has never been more highlighted now, it's never been more highlighted than it has been now. There are market gaps, as I was talking about. There have been market changes. And if you were to start your own business from scratch, not only would you have to figure out the business, figure out the value proposition, figure out the logistics, figure out how to run it, figure out how to do it efficiently, and then get customers to trust you with their money. When you bring in a franchise business, a lot of times that brand has the trust associated with it already. They definitely have the operations already figured out, the structure, the equipment that you're going to need, the value proposition. So you can quickly adapt to market changes. Very flexible. I almost call it a pivot. Like if you're in a business right now and COVID-19 is killing you, and you think that market changes are going to cripple your business post-COVID, you don't think your business is coming back because people maybe aren't getting out as much, or for some reason they're veering away from certain types of businesses, you can pivot. You can switch over to a franchise business that does something else. Leverage your soft skills or your hard skills even, and switch over to a different business that does meet needs. Very flexible. And one of the things I'm very passionate about with franchising. And then commercial real estate. This was highlighted many times over through my various trips through the region. You've got these huge commercial real estate developments. And when you start to get vacancies in these commercial developments, it impacts all the other stores. So if COVID shuts down, say 30% of the retail stores in, say, a commercial development, the foot traffic to all the other stores is diminished because those stores that close aren't bringing in new people. And so if you're looking to strategically fill out your commercial development, franchising can be very powerful because you can pick what product goes in there. You can choose what restaurant or what retail location is going to be the best fit for the other things around it. And you can help create a more robust commercial development. Commercial developments, when it comes to investment, are much larger than it costs to open a franchise business. And then for new construction, you can actually plan it out and reduce risk. So with any new construction, vacancy and dealing with those vacancies is always one of the biggest things. And if you can have certain cornerstone commercial franchise businesses that are going in there, you can advertise that to new people pre-opening, say, hey, look, these are going to be there. You want to come in? And you can leverage franchises that way. So these are some of the main ways I think that you can leverage franchises to meet your goals, meet your needs, and kind of bring your business aspirations to the next level. And that's all I have today. So I think this is the end of our time today. So I just want to open it up to any questions for anybody. And I want to give a big thank you again to the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain and all the people that helped pull this together.
Thank you very much, Joel, and to all of our speakers. It is 5 o'clock, and this was the official ending time of our event. So for those of our attendees, we thank you very much for coming, and we understand if you have to log off now. The speakers have agreed to stay on for a few more minutes to answer the questions that we have, and these will be recorded and shared later. But, and I also want to thank my team here, Bree and Reem. They make it all look easy. So thank you, Joel, for always being a willing partner in these endeavors. So Martin, I'd like to pose a question to you. Are there certain common criteria brands look for when evaluating franchisees, or does it vary by brand and by sector?
That's a good question. Yes, there is certainly some common traits. Obviously, business experience is good. The ability in a master franchise, the operational ability or operational bandwidth to develop multiple units. Obviously, the financial wherewithal is important. The ability to follow a system. Successful franchisees like to follow systems. You don't have to necessarily be a star entrepreneur. You want to take the brand, believe in it, and follow the system. Now, the reason you may be buying a franchise is because you don't have experience in that business. So you don't necessarily need to have experience in the business that you're franchising to start a franchise. A big food and beverage operation will want the experience, but otherwise it's not necessary. Did that answer your question?
I believe it
Yes,
did.
thank you. A follow-on for you is, do U.S. brands offer single unit franchises internationally? Because some people aren't ready to make a bigger commitment than that.
Yes, some do, particularly those that want to create a foothold in the region. The bigger brands are going to always want a multi-unit commitment. They don't want to deal with single unit franchises all over the world. But a smaller brand looking to get into the GCC or get into Bahrain, it's certainly an option. It's certainly an option with some brands, but definitely not with all.
Okay, thank you. Troy, this question is for you. How long does the process of acquiring a franchise normally take?
I think it's a good question. I mentioned that there was you had to have the head and the heart for a franchise business. When you start looking at a franchise, acquiring a franchise, you really start by developing a shopping list and determining what is of interest to you, and then reaching out and finding out if these things are available. The process involves an initial introduction and discussions, and a get to know you even before you get to the substantive part of the negotiations, such as laying out the terms and finalizing agreements. And from our experience, the process from first point of contact up to successfully finalizing a master franchise agreement in a country that doesn't have any franchise related regulations, and most of the GCC doesn't. I think Saudi is now an exception. The process would take anywhere from 4 to 7 months, depending on the complexity of the agreement, the capability of the franchisee, the pace with which the franchisor is ready to move, their experience in the region, and various other factors. So I would say to identify a brand and get to a completed agreement, best case scenario 3 months, and then 6 to 7 months on the longest scenario.
So Troy, following up on that, how will the franchisor support the new franchisee in setting up the business within a foreign country such as Bahrain?
Sure. So people think that finalizing the agreement is the hard part, but actually that's the easy part, because the real work starts once you get the agreement finalized. And I often counsel both franchisors and franchisees on strategy. And what we always point out is, you're not trying to open a location in a city or a facility. You're trying to launch a brand in a new country and scale that brand and build market penetration. So effectively, you need to have a market entry strategy which is robust, which has been embraced by both the franchisor and the franchisee, that says, how am I going to take this and scale it and penetrate the market and become a top 2 or 3 player in the market? That's really the aspiration you want to have when you look at entering a new market with an international franchise. And I think that it starts with the franchisee having a team, putting together a team, and that team going to the principal or the franchisor's headquarters and learning and understanding the system, then coming back and applying that to the local market with the franchisor's support, and figuring out, what do we need to do to build a competitive, scalable business. From the time you find a franchise to the time you open the first shop or unit, depending on real estate and various other factors, can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. But remember, again, it's not about just opening one location. It's about market penetration. Most franchise agreements are 10 years with an option for 10 years, master franchise agreements, I mean. So it's a marathon. It's not a foot race, and you don't have to rush and jump into the market and get something open quickly. You need to look at sustainability and profitability and performance.
Thank you very much, Troy. Good advice. Joel, this question is for you. So I know that there's a lot of very successful restaurants and services and brands here that are localized to Bahrain. Can they convert those businesses to a U.S. franchise?
Yeah, so that is, if you've got a struggling business, or if you think that bringing in the brand, the power of the franchise brand is going to take you to the next level, the costs involved with converting your current business to a franchise is going to be much less than opening one, because you've already got a lot of the stuff you're going to need. But one of the concerns there, though, is that you've got your business and you've got this idea of how that business is run. Sorry. But when the franchise comes in with their operating manuals and they're going to want to make your business be substantially consistent with all of their other businesses. So if you do decide that partnering with a franchise to convert your existing business to the franchise business is the best way to take your business forward, because this is about you. So you're still a business owner of a franchise business. You're just leveraging their brand, their experience, their system. You have to realize that you might have to change some things, and kind of maybe go with a little bit of humility and not try to force the brand to do things the way that you've already been doing it. But yes, if you're looking to convert your brand, that can be a great way to leverage your experience and leverage your investment, quite frankly, because you've got probably a lot invested in making your business what it is. Whether it's a restaurant, you've already got the kitchen built out with the equipment and all that, or a cleaning company might already have all of the equipment and the trucks and everything. So you can leverage that investment if you think that a franchise is going to be the vehicle that's going to help take your life where you want it to go.
Thank you very much, Joel. And I want to thank everyone. We're going to be aware of our time and everyone's busy life and conclude our discussion presentations for today. But thank you very much, Troy, Martin, Haifa, Bill, and Joel. We couldn't have done this without you. There were a few questions that came across that were very specific, such as franchise opportunities in India, but we will connect you directly with those, with questions like that with the askers so that you can provide more information. I want to thank everyone who came, attended, stayed for the duration of this webinar. We invite you to our upcoming events. If you're interested in learning about AmCham membership in whatever country you are, let us know and we can help you connect with those AmChams. We're like a franchise. But thank you so much. You make AmCham look great when we have such great speakers. So, and we encourage everyone to look into franchising if that's of interest to you. So we say thank you to everyone and have a lovely evening or day, depending on what part of the world you're in.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, everyone. Good day and good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.